Hi, everybody. My name is Keri Barnum. I am the Executive Director for New Shelves Books, and this is Free Advice Fridays. We come here every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern to answer your questions, publishing, book marketing, writing, just kind of to build our community here and give you a little bit of free advice. So we're very excited to have some live questions as well as email questions in today, and we'll just go through them until we're done. One of the first questions that came in was an emailed question, and it was a really good question because I've seen this popping up quite a lot recently. As Amazon has kind of become more of a player. Now, Amazon has been in the book game, the publishing game for quite some time, but especially with everything happening in 2020, what's happening is we are seeing Amazon really skyrocket. And it used to be that saying your book was available on Amazon or that your ranking in Amazon didn't really hold much weight. But now, as more and more sales are moving to Amazon, it's mattering a little bit more. I wouldn't say by any means hitting a bestseller rank on Amazon is anywhere close to like a USA Today or New York Times. However, having a Amazon bestseller rank is something that sounds pretty cool, and a lot of people really aim towards because it does show that you're getting some sales, which is awesome. And you can say you're a bestseller, which everyone wants to say that, let's be honest. And so I'm getting questions in about when you can call yourself a bestseller and some of the differences in a ranking on Amazon. And so the question really was, I'm seeing people who are saying that they are an Amazon bestseller, but what they're really getting is they are getting an Amazon best-selling new release. And what's the difference between a best-selling new release and a Amazon bestseller? And the difference really is that when you hit an Amazon bestseller ranking, you are in the top of actual sales category. So if I have a book that is a bestseller in the mystery category, it means that I am in the top 100 of paid books on Amazon in the mystery category. But if I just put my book out, let's say on Tuesday, and it's selling like hotcakes, it's not at number 1 in the mystery category, but it is at number 200, let's say. Amazon recognizes that some books are not quite bestsellers, but they are the best-selling new release. So what they do is they recognize that. You get the orange banner. It does say, top-selling new release in whatever category. So top-selling new release in, or best-selling new release in mystery. And it does recognize that. That does not mean that you are a bestseller on Amazon. It means that you're a best-selling new release, and it is a little bit different. So yes, that does matter. You cannot henceforth call yourself a bestseller on Amazon if you hit best-selling new release. I guess you could. Again, let's keep in mind, of course you can call yourself that, but can you call yourself that with conscience? I wouldn't. It's something to celebrate. It is awesome. Hitting any type of milestone or getting any type of bestseller status or getting that orange banner is exciting, and we should absolutely celebrate and encourage each other when we hit that. However, that's not calling ourselves a bestseller because you did not rank in the top 100, and really, with the Amazon bestseller list, it is the top 100. However, people only tend to brag about it when they're in the top 10 or the number 1 spot, because at the number 1 spot is when you get the number one in category, and you get the orange banner, and everyone, throws confetti, and it's exciting. That's when people generally can say they're a bestseller on Amazon. That can happen in multiple countries and multiple categories. So you can be number 1 in 3 different categories in the US, Canada, UK, and Australia, and then you're an international bestseller on Amazon. Super awesome. I hope you guys get there because it's fun and it's doable. Amazon calculates their sales hourly. So as they're updating things, you have a lot of opportunities through each day to hit that. And it is awesome. It helps your Amazon algorithm. It helps them show your book more. It shows them that your book is popular. And again, you get to say you're a bestseller, which is fun. So I think that's important to know. And then we're also getting questions if you can call yourself a bestseller if you hit number 1 in category on a free list. The overall consensus is that you can do whatever you're comfortable with. However, You do not get the orange banner for #1 in category for a free book. And the reason why is because it's not a seller. It is a #1 in free category. You hit #1 in whatever category. You can absolutely say that. However, there are separate lists for bestsellers paid and bestsellers free. And typically, people do not call themselves a bestseller if you're giving away a book for free. It's just #1 in category. Again, something to celebrate. It means people are interested in your book and it's awesome. But if you're going to use the bestseller term, it's kind of best practices to make sure that you're actually on a paid list and that you are hitting top 10 at least, or #1 for sure. So that's kind of my guidelines. It's really subjective, you guys. You could probably say a lot of things, but again, to do it with conscience, to make sure that you're kind of falling in line with industry standards and that you keep your good name intact, I think it's important that we make sure that we really look at it objectively and that we are looking at it as someone who may be seeing your book for the first time. If you're saying your book is a bestseller, does the average person think that you hit #1? Do they think that you actually made it higher up on the list than you have? Because we don't want to mislead people, because that damages our name and our reputation. So that's my guidelines. It's kind of how I go about it. But ultimately, you are the publisher, you are the author, and you can say what you will. But those are my guidelines, and I hope that's helpful, kind of to get your brain thinking on that plane. All right, in a previous video, you once said that pre-orders are not a good idea, that they don't help your ranking. Could you explain that a little further? Yes, so Pat, a year or two ago, it used to work that when you did sales on Amazon specifically, I'm not speaking wide, I'm speaking specifically to Amazon, you could put your book up for pre-order and all of those orders stacked up. So if you got, over a year, you got 100 orders, they would kind of stack up. And then when you released your book, all of those orders would go through and you would hit a #1 ranking. It was a very popular strategy, but Amazon caught on and they kind of realized that maybe that wasn't quite fair, because maybe John had his book up for 5 years and was getting pre-orders. Meanwhile, Jenny had pre-orders for a week and John's just eclipsing her in the best-selling ranking when he didn't really deserve to, because it took him 5 years to get those sales. So Amazon kind of said, not anymore. And so they closed their window to where they are not doing that and just stacking orders up. Orders count as they come in. And so for sure, that strategy just doesn't work anymore. The exception is that if you were doing pre-orders and you're doing it with wide distribution, if you're doing pre-orders at Barnes & Noble and Amazon and everywhere, if you're doing it on IndieBound, everywhere, you have a pre-order available and or you're very confident that you'll get thousands of pre-orders, that can pay off big. And that's what the big publishers tend to do. So keep that in mind, that if it's wide and you think you can sell thousands, I mean, that's worth it. Or if you know that you need a pre-order up to capture sales or you will lose them, that might make sense. But if you're using pre-orders as a way to rank, it no longer works. And what happens is if you put your book up for pre-order and no one's really buying it, because let's be honest, we are a now society. If I buy a book, I use my book or my phone to read. If I buy a book now, I want it now. I want to read it right now or tonight or in 10 minutes. I don't want to wait a month or 3 months. Rather, I'll just, when it releases, I will buy it then. So pre-orders, we're too impatient for them sometimes, and we don't want to spend money now for something we'll get in 3 months. So if people are not ordering your book on pre-order, if they are waiting, but meanwhile your book is up on Amazon, if it's not getting traffic, if it's not getting sales, it tells the Amazon algorithms this book isn't popular. No one really wants to see it. No one's buying it. So we should just not show it. And it can tank your algorithms. And that's where we have to be careful. And that is why I caution against it. If you have a reason for pre-order, if you have a series and you have the second book out and the third book is coming out in a month and you want to do a pre-order to let people know it's coming, that makes sense. But Strategy is so important. Don't just throw up a pre-order with no reason. Make sure that you're strategizing, that you know what you're doing, and you have a plan in place. And that plan cannot be push pre-order so I can rank on Amazon for launch day. It just doesn't work anymore. So be cautious there. But again, if you have a reason and a strategy behind it, awesome. Just strategy. All right, I'm seeing a question over here. All right. I went to Amazon and added up to 10 more categories on my book. Yay! Do those categories apply to all versions of my book, say ebook, hardcover, and paperback? No, they do not. There are different categories for every format. There is a, well, I will not say every format. There is a print books categories, and that applies to your paperback and your hardcover. But you have to ask that those categories are added to each ISBN. And then there are ebook or Kindle categories that are separate, and you have to ask that those categories are added for Kindle. There are more categories in Kindle, more niche than there are in books. So keep that in mind as well, but you do have to send them in for each ISBN. Or you can say, I would like these categories added for my paperback and hardcover and list the ISBNs. But know that there are different bestseller lists for your ebook and for your print books. Also, I'm getting emails from book reviewers. Is there anything to be cautious about in replying to them? Yes, yes, yes. I am so glad, Christina, that you brought this up. In the last 2 weeks, I have had clients send me multiple emails from new apps, from book reviewers, from different things. One of them got a email that said, I'd love to review your book. I think that your book would be so popular on my blog and I'd love to review it. And she responded, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. How do I get a copy to you? And they said, oh, I'm so sorry. If I was misleading you at all, or if it was confusing, there's a fee for me to review your book on my blog. My rule of thumb, you guys, is number one, go Google it. Go Google reviews and see what people are saying. But number two, when someone is coming to you either through your website or through your email and asking you to pay them, be a little bit cautious. It's different if you signed up for a newsletter. If you signed up for, I don't know, the Fussy Librarian, and they're saying, hey, can we promote your book again? You went to them. I'm not saying that everyone who reaches out to you directly is a scam, but that is my first red flag where I go, let's go Google. Let's go take a look. Some of them are very legitimate and they're just reaching out. But anyone that leads with they want to review your book without pricing, that's a huge red flag for me because that's not complete honesty. That's a hook. They're using a hook to get people to respond to them and then pulling out the price. And that's, I don't know. I don't like that. It doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So I am cautious of that. I think you can always reply. You can always ask them about whatever opportunity it is, but definitely make sure that you Google, you search, you ask other writing groups. There's a lot of Goodreads writing groups where people talk about things. And feel it out there and just proceed with caution. If it's a well-known company that makes sense, great. If it's someone who is truly asking to review your book and they just want a copy of the book, I think that's pretty low risk and I think that's worth it. But if it is something where you are being asked to pay someone and they've come to you, I'm always a little bit cautious. So my 2 cents. And I've seen that a lot lately. I think anyone who, I've seen a couple companies doing that a lot lately. Not my favorite. So there it is. If you sign up for it, go for it. If not, proceed with caution. All right. If I have a mystery Kindle book priced at $2.99 on Amazon and drop the price down to 99 cents for the month of December, but leave the paperback at $12.99, will this attract readers? Or is this a bad marketing decision? No, that's not a bad marketing decision at all. Generally, we leave our paperback or our print books the same price all the time. That doesn't mean retailers won't discount them. If your book is trending on Barnes & Noble in hardcover, guess what? Amazon may, they'll see those sales and they may drop the price down of your hardcover so that people will buy on Amazon instead of Barnes and Noble. You don't take a hit. You still get the same royalty. Amazon takes the hit because they're banking on more sales so that they can profit more and you get the same amount. That's kind of a win-win for you. But generally speaking, paperbacks or hardcovers, we keep the same price all the time unless you're doing a promo through your website and you're selling direct. Now for your ebook, that's a perfect opportunity to drop the price down and get attention. Right now and through December into January even, people are all over Amazon looking for Christmas gifts and shopping and all of that kind of thing. And so there's a lot of people on Amazon who may love your book, and if you give them a tempting deal, like dropping it down to 99 cents, they may seriously consider it. I think that's an awesome idea. You can even get into some discount newsletters like the Fussy Librarian, Bargain Booksy, Robbins Reads is another one, and you can absolutely do that. Keep in mind that books tend to be a personal sale. Not children's books. There are certain gift books, cookbooks, things like that as well that people will buy for other people. But let's say you have a mystery or you have a historical fiction, something like that. Those tend to be something that we buy for ourselves. It's a personal decision. So keep in mind that yes, December is a great time. However, tons of people are going to be getting new Kindles, new Nook devices, new iPads for Christmas. And when they do that, may come with a gift card, they're going to want to go fill up that Kindle with new books. So it's also a good idea to consider running a discount promo from Christmas into mid-January, because that's when people will be buying their own books for themselves as they're browsing around. And I know personally, if I just got a new device and I want to fill it up, I don't want one book for $14.99. I want 10 books for $14.99, because that's just how, you know, the brain works. So keep in mind that discount books will be appealing. If anyone got a Kindle Unlimited subscription, that may be appealing to them. So if you have a series on Kindle Unlimited, it may be time in early January to offer your first book free, so you get people to download it and then read through Kindle Unlimited with the rest of your series. Lots of opportunities for ebooks for those things that might be personal buys from Christmas into mid-January. So again, keep that in mind. I think it's an excellent option. And keep your paperback the same price it always is. People who want paperbacks will buy them, and others might discover you because you've got a discount. And again, you guys, if you have questions, if you could drop them in the Q&A box, that is so helpful to me so I don't lose them. Let me see here. Let me go back to our lovely emails over here. All right. I have a question for you. I just heard that library budgets will be lowered next year. Why would this be true? Is it because libraries are not fully open and librarians have more time to read requests from authors? So here's the thing. Let's talk about libraries. Let's talk about budgets and that whole thing. Libraries aren't just closing, and libraries in many cases are still very active. Ebooks are going out like hotcakes right now. But let's also keep in mind that libraries are funded by the government, either local or usually local government. So let's take my town, for example. I live in a fairly small town in the outskirts of Rochester, New York. Many of the budgets, including the library budget, is based on the taxes and the income of the town. Well, because everything's been shut down, our recreation center that usually runs a lot of programs and sports and brings in some income for the town, different big fairs or rentals for things, the things that the town brings in a revenue for, it's down, guys. It's down, I want to say over 60%. I should have better figures because I just did sit in on the town board meeting, but I know for sure it's down like 60%. It's a huge number. And that affects the library budget, because what happens with the town revenue and with, you know, of course, taxes count and all of that, but they have other things that go into that budget. And as they're dividing up the budget for next year, they have to look at everything. They have to look at dog control. They're looking at our libraries. They're looking at our parks. And so as everyone gets a slice of the pie, unfortunately, is just going to be smaller in 2021 based on the things that happened in 2020. And that may affect our library budgets. Yes, there are grants and there are a lot of different things, but the after effects of 2020 going into 2021, they won't just disappear. They're going to stay, unfortunately, for a while. So library budgets may shrink. That may mean that their budgets for books isn't shrinking much. Maybe that's staying kind of the same, but librarians will be cutting back hours, or there will be staff shifts. I don't know what that will look like for each library, and I think that it will be very specific to each library in each region. But it may be coming where libraries are going to have cuts. That doesn't mean they won't be buying books. They will buy books. That is what they're there for. That's what their patrons want, but they may be a little bit more picky. So with that, I know a little doom and gloom. I will also say that they will still have budgets. A lot of them will be getting their budgets in January 2021. And many of them have budgets that have to be used in 2020 or they lose it. And if they lose it, what happens is that if they don't use their budget, if they lose their budget, then when budgets are coming up for next year, they'll say, well, you didn't need that money, so I guess we can cut here. Librarians don't want that. So they are very apt to use their budget up towards the end of the year, which is in the next month and a half. So I think we'll see a lot of sales coming out in the next month and a half, and I think that we will have to see what 2021 brings. They are absolutely looking at new books. They are checking new books out. They're checking out new authors. And we shouldn't stop, but know that ebooks are being considered very heavily right now, because ebooks can be, whether we are in lockdown or quarantine, or maybe I'm just personally not going out much, ebooks are still going out, rapidly going off the shelves in libraries. So having your books in overdrive is more important than ever. Now, if you are not in Kindle Unlimited, you can go broad. And if you would like to go out to libraries, I highly recommend that. I personally like to use Draft to Digital to get my books into overdrive. Hoopla, going through Bibliotheca, Baker and Taylor for libraries on ebooks. So many options. And that's important. If you're going to pitch libraries right now, get your ebook into overdrive, Hoopla, those different things now, because it's a really smart move to make. And then we'll see. I think we are going to see just how 2020 was very much take it as it comes and shift and change and make the most of it. I had clients coming into 2020 who were like, this is it. I just launched my first book and it's going to bomb and I'm not going to sell it. And those same clients are now going, hey, we shifted, we moved digital, we went online, and I sold more books than I thought I would with everything open. So it doesn't mean that sales stop. It doesn't mean that your book won't sell. It means that you have to be flexible and you have to be willing to follow the market. That means staying on top of things, research, read newsletters. That's what we do. I'm on newsletters for Jane Friedman and Publishers Weekly and the non-authors, or nonfiction authors, and we're following Brian Cohen, and we're following The Book Designer, we're following Publishers Weekly and Kirkus, and we're following all of those places that are telling us data, and they're publishing news about the book industry, because it's important that if you want to stay relevant in today's market, that you spend time learning about today's market. You can be successful, but you have to know what's working today. Not last month, not 6 months ago, because the market is just changing too rapidly right now to rely on old information. To that, New Shelves does have a newsletter. Totally will plug us. We have a newsletter that goes out every Tuesday, and we try to put a lot of that market information in there so you can stay up to date and really know what's going on in the market. So that's my 2 cents. All right. Which is better, offer book and paperback only at first or offer paperback and ebook at the same time? I always recommend that you do paperback and ebook. Give people the option. There are die-hard paperback or print book fanatics who will not read an e-reader. They have no interest. They are on technology all the time and they just don't want it. Then you have people who say, I never remember to carry a paperback with me, but I always have my phone, which is my Kindle, or it's just more convenient, or whatever it may be. It's cheaper. And so I say you offer both. Give people the option to have either a paperback or an ebook and let them choose, unless there's some specific reason not to. I always say paperback and ebook, put them out at the same time. You don't want to lose a reader because you don't have the option they want. Now, if you're doing audiobook, that's the one exception where I think absolutely audiobook, if you have it and you can put it out at the same time, great. But if you don't have an audiobook right when you're launching, that's okay. Put it out 3 to 6 months later and you can almost relaunch your book. There's lots of opportunities there. So that one, audiobook, I think is a little flexible, but ebook and print book, I always put out at the same time. I think it's the most well-rounded and smart thing to do. And yes, absolutely. So then the follow-up question is about age. And should you, as a children's book author, have an ebook? Yes, I think you should. If you can, you should. However, know that the majority of your sales for middle grade and lower, as far as age range, will be physical books. I've talked about this before. Having ebooks for kids, it's just not as fun. I've got 2 kids and this is my e-reader. Am I going through with my kids and reading an entire book on this little screen? No, not so much. I also try to keep my kids off of technology. Not working so much this year with school, but we try to keep them off of technology and we encourage the physical books because it's something to rest their eyes and their brains. So most of your book sales for children's books all the way up to middle grade will be print books. However, you should still have an ebook. Why? You may have parents or you may have teachers who are looking to review books that way. They want to look over the book before they buy it for a present or a class. You may have people who do have their kids on devices and are doing it that way. You just don't know. And for a fairly small amount of work, you can have big reward. So I think that it's worth it to have the ebook up. I mean, there's just no good reason not to now with as easy as it is to get it formatted and put up, in my opinion. All right, we've got another email question. And if you've just joined us, I see a couple of people just came in. Q&A chat box is a great spot to put your questions, and I will be happy to answer those. All right. Okay, and this question is about why would Amazon keep my reviews from being posted? This is coming up a lot. I think that we have to keep in mind, do we want reviews on Amazon? Absolutely. They help us convert scrollers to buyers because reviews are trusted. However, Amazon's platform is Amazon's playground. They can deny a review. They can take down a review. It's kind of whatever they want to do because it's their area. So if they think that that review was biased, if they think that review was a personal friend, if anyone puts in there, hey, my friend Karen asked me to leave a review of her book, so I am, they will take it down because that's biased. And so that's kind of just what they will do. I always say that you should always ask for reviews, and the more that go up, the better off you'll be, even if some come down. A new exciting thing that's happening for Kindle only is if you are reading a book on Kindle, you can rate a book without reviewing it. Of course, we want to review. We want people to say nice things. It counts higher in the algorithm. But for people who maybe just will not leave a review, if they're reading it on Kindle, after they're done, it pops up with stars and they can rate it and not leave a review, which makes your stars go up. which is super awesome because it gives you more validity more quickly. So that's a super cool thing happening on Kindle that I'm seeing work for some authors who wouldn't normally be getting some of those ratings and those reviews, because people don't want to type out a review. They feel nervous or they don't know what to put, that kind of thing. So super cool happening there. And yes, there are different reviews on different platforms. So let's talk about that. You may go to your book at the Amazon UK site and say, hey, I only have 5 reviews here on Amazon.com. I've got 25 reviews. What's going on? Some reviews are not global. They do not go everywhere. Maybe someone only reviewed the book on the Amazon UK site. I haven't found a true uniformity on how these things are done and how sometimes they pan over and sometimes they don't. I don't know if it's the permissions of the account or whatnot, or if there's a special setting. But there are different reviews on different sites, and they may cross over, but they don't always cross over. It may also be that certain Amazon sites, let's say UK.com, different things, they have different rules about what reviews can go up. So you may see them in some spots and not others. But I always say review wherever you're from. If I have someone who says, hey, I'm in the UK, can I review it on my Amazon? Absolutely. I would love UK readers. So again, the more the merrier. I don't ever tell people no, just don't review it. So it's not that good. You always want to encourage those reviews wherever they're comfortable putting them at. If that's Goodreads, if that's Amazon, absolutely. Barnes & Noble, sure, go ahead. iBooks, yes. And if someone loves you a lot, maybe they'll do all of them, and I think that's great. Let's see. All right, do you have a template for book descriptions, short and long? Not a template per se. I will say someone who does this really well and who teaches classes on it is Brian Cohen. And he does a great job. He's got a whole team of people that does book descriptions. I typically look for, though, a hook. I want a hook sentence that is intriguing. I just got a book description from a client the other day, and they're asking me to look at it, and it was actually the last sentence in her book description was, how much pain can Paris endure? And I was like, I mean, I know you had a different hook, but that kind of got me. So why don't we take it and why don't we put that as the top hook to draw people in, because the book is all about Paris in the 1700s and all of that going on. So to me, I think that you need a sentence, not a couple of sentences. Let's not be long-winded. Something that people can glance at and in 4 seconds go, oh, that's kind of interesting. What can I learn more about this? So always have a hook. Always have a lead-in. And then, of course, you've got your short kind of drawn and then a longer book description. I do think you need both. You need a book description that is under 300 characters, not words, characters. And then you should have a longer book description that is anywhere between 200 to 300 characters, or I'm sorry, 200 to 300 words. Long and short, you will need them both in different places, but get your hook. If you don't have a hook, you will lose people, whether it be in an ad or you're going somewhere and you're talking about your book. It's kind of like your elevator pitch. Get a hook in mind to really draw people in quickly. So other than that, check out Brian Cohen. He's awesome. He does teach a lot of classes about descriptions, and I've learned a lot from him. So I'd recommend you go check him out. So. All right, do the stars given on Kindle apply to the book site? Yes, so it is, if your books are linked, which generally they should be, your ebook and your paperback and your hardcover should all show up on the same Amazon listing. If they don't, write into KDP and ask them to connect your listing or link your listing. When you do that, it shares the reviews so that the reviews go on all formats of your book. So then if someone rates the book on Kindle, it will still show up on the paperback. So if you have 72 reviews or ratings, I think now they call it reviews and ratings. It's been a minute since I looked at it. But If you have 72 reviews or ratings, it will show up on the Kindle and on the paperback hardcover. It's a win-win. I super like the new system there. All right. Tony, it is Brian Cohen, and I will type his name in here. It is Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, Cohen, C-O-H-E-N. And I will put that in there. And I think we're actually going to be doing some exciting things with Brian in January for an Amazon ad program. So he's super awesome. Yeah, Brian Cohen, I just dropped it in the chat. I don't know his website off of my head. All right. What kind of lighting and camera do you use for Free Advice Friday? I use a Logitech camera. If your computer is updated and it's got a nice camera, you can just use that. If not, Logitech has like a $99 camera that sits on your computer and it can pan and do all sorts of things. Super awesome. And then for lighting, my lighting's about to get bad, but it's funny. My mother-in-law works from home and she just asked me about this also. So this right here can hold your phone. It kind of goes in here, and it can hold your phone, so you can do it from your phone if you are using your phone for a meeting. It's got this light right here, which has settings that can go up, whoops, up, down. I don't know if you can tell, but it's getting brighter and darker. Off, on. And this plugs into the computer and feeds off a USB. They do have some that plug in or plug into an outlet, or they are battery operated. And it's got this thing right here, so it can hook onto the edge of your desk. And I love this because it really helps you with your lighting. Here again, so you can see this is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, but when I turn on the light, it kind of takes the shadow off of this side of my face. And it definitely helps if your camera is looking kind of grainy. Sometimes if your camera is looking grainy, that's because your light is off. So that's super helpful to have. You can also have a headset. I personally am using my Blue Snowball microphone. Yetis are also good, again, under $100. So if you are doing a lot of Zoom meetings, which many of us are this year and probably going forward, having a nice microphone that makes you easily able to be heard and having nice lighting makes such a world of difference in your recording if you're doing YouTube videos, anything like that. The name of my lighting, Wendy, is, I don't know, $20 on Amazon, but I will find the link. I will set links in Free Advice Friday in the Facebook group. I will put links for everything that I use in a post so that you guys can find them. But again, the lighting was like 20 bucks. Super worth it in my opinion. It just makes a lot of difference. Oh, since lighting didn't change that much, what other lighting do you use? I don't know if you can tell, Bob, but I am in a Four Seasons room. It's where my office is. And so I have windows on 3 walls and 2 ceiling windows, whatever those are called, skylights. There we go. And so it's just really bright in this room anyway. And natural light is always best when you can make it work for you. So that's what it is. It's my favorite room because it's all so bright. Bright and airy. All right. If you already have an ebook up on Amazon, do you still need to go through Overdrive through Draft to Digital to get into libraries? If your book is on Amazon and it's available through Kindle Select for Kindle Unlimited, that is exclusive. You cannot put your ebook anywhere else. Ebook only. You can put your paperback wherever you want, but ebook in Kindle Select can only go into Kindle for ebook. Stops there. If your book is available on Kindle, but not Kindle Select, so it's not in Kindle Unlimited, you can also upload your ebook other places. I personally like to use Draft to Digital. It's DRAFT, the number 2, digital.com. And I use them to get into Barnes & Noble for Nook, Apple for iBooks, I like to get into Kobo, Overdrive for libraries, Bibliotheca. They do a lot right there. Now, can you go and apply to all of these places directly rather than using one spot? You can. They will not all accept you. Some of them only have accounts with bigger publishers, which is why I like using Draft to Digital, and it's much easier to manage one account than 10. So completely up to you. Some people will also use Ingram Spark for ebook distribution. I know that they've been trying to beef that up some. I don't personally love it. You can't make changes as easily, but they are making changes. So we'll see what that brings. And some people will also use Smashwords. Same thing. I just find Draft to Digital to be the easiest platform to use. It's user friendly. You can set promos. So if you want to drop your price down for a week, you can set that promo and it will automatically change your prices. It just got a lot of nice features that I enjoy. I think it's easy to use and they don't take a ton of your compensation for your ebooks. So if your book is in Kindle, not Kindle Select, go today and explore Draft to Digital so that you can go and you can get your book everywhere else. There's just no reason not to if you're not in Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited and Kindle Select have their place. If you have a series, if you're in mystery, if you're in romance, there are a lot of readers on Kindle Unlimited, and there's a lot of profit to be made there. But if your book is not going through Kindle Select, there's nothing holding you back. So make sure that you get wide distribution there. All right, let me just make sure we don't have any questions in our Facebook group. I do try to check that every once in a while. All right, I think we're good there. All right, you guys, I think I've gotten through all of the questions today, but if you have any more, drop them in the Q&A box. That would be super awesome. Otherwise, I think we're good. I usually, when I do the last calls, when everyone suddenly starts putting different questions in here. So again, if you have questions, drop them in the Q&A box. And as far as things coming up, if you ever have questions, you can always send them in advance. If you cannot watch real time, you can send in questions to questions@freeadvicefridays.com. I will type that in here. We had quite a few people do that this week. So if it's super early where you're at, or for whatever reason you can't be here, send your questions in through questions@freeadvicefridays and we will answer them. Then you can watch the YouTube replay, or you can always join us live. All right. Vicky is asking if I saw a question about Amazon. If you could copy that over here, Vicky, I don't remember that email. I will double check though to see if I might have missed it. Oops. Vicky, I lied. I found it. All right. Vicky is saying, I have a novel, Lady Margaret's Escape, on a virtual book tour and received a favorable review from a blogger. Awesome. Can I copy the review on Amazon with credits to the blogger? Here is the thing. You cannot put it as a starred review. But what you can do is if that blogger is not leaving a review as like a rating on Amazon through their own account, if you have that blogger has a public review that's been posted on their blog, you can put it under editorial reviews, and you find that in Author Central. When you log into Author Central, you find your book and you can do an editorial review. Let me see here if I can go into Author Central. No, I'm usually in someone's account. The question is whose? All right, I'm going to share my screen, you guys. I'm just going to go live and share my screen. I will not be able to see your chats, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So you all should be able to see my screen. We have Amazon Author Central here, and we have my friend Gene Jones and his book, Younger and Wiser. This is, by the way, not everyone has an updated Author Central profile. However, this is coming. This is in trial. It's in beta. And this is the new view of Amazon Author Central. So know that may be coming for you. And so this is the updated version here. And if you want to do an editorial review, you would go into books and you can see here. No, this is, I've just seen this one time, so keep this in mind as I'm navigating. You have to do this per format. So every format you have to put your editorial review in. Let's say this one's for Kindle. Let's see. All right, so we've got all the information here. And edit book details. If I do this wrong, please know this is my first time. I'm totally going live with you guys. All right, so yay, it worked. I love when that happens. So right here, as I did edit details, you can see the reviews here. These are our editorial reviews. So if you have editorial reviews, you've got a new blogger review, you can just hit edit and you can add that review right in there. And then you would hit preview, and then you can see it, and then you would save changes. I don't want to change anything on accident. So you can do that, and that is where you would put your editorial reviews right on Author Central. It's a great option. Just remember, this right now would only show up on the Kindle. So if I then go into, let's show you where you will see those. If we go to that, right? We're gonna go, oops. We're gonna go to Jean's book right here. And down here, right here is where you see the editorial reviews. So those do show up on your page, but if I don't update it on the paperback, it's only going to show up on the Kindle version. So make sure that you update it on both, which means that you would just go back, well, not to that. You would go back and then you would go to the different version of the book. So then I'd say I want this book and then I want the paperback. And then you can do that and you can update there. As far as other things that you can do, why don't we just dig into that? Because in addition to that, you can see, of course, your ratings and all of that. But you can also see, you can put in review options. You can put in a from the author, from the inside flap, about the author. There's a lot of things you can do in here, which is especially nice because even if you are traditionally published, if you are not the publisher, you still control your Author Central. So you can add these things to your book, even if you are not the publisher, which is a really nice thing to know. And I think it's totally underutilized to have this. So if you have not gone on to Author Central, absolutely dig in there, go try it, because it's a nice thing that every author that has a book on Amazon does experience. You have access to that, so make sure you take advantage. All right, whoops. I told you guys, I say last call and you all get excited and put your questions in. If I run Amazon ads and have had a bunch of sales but haven't gotten a lot more ratings, is there any way for me to send a message or encourage those Amazon buyers to rate or review the book? No, because of privacy laws, we do not have access to the people that buy our books. However, I always encourage, especially on ebooks, I think any interior, but especially ebooks, that the last page of the book should say something like, thank you so much for reading my story. If you liked it, I'd love if you'd review it. Reviews mean the world to authors. Put something on there encouraging people to do it. A lot of times people don't mean to not leave reviews. It's just if they're not in publishing, if they're not an author, they don't realize how much a review matters to people. So they don't necessarily think of it. But if you tell your readers a review means so much, please go leave a review. Some of them will. I mean, a higher number than if you don't. So I think put that right there in the back of your ebook for sure. That's easy to change. And getting it in your print book file as well can be a nice touch. But we can't, unfortunately, go and find the people who read our book and ask them to review it because of privacy laws. All right. Tara, as far as the new Author Central, the updated Author Central handle formatting of content any better, I don't know. I haven't tried to change anything yet. I know sometimes, remember, Author Central is run by Amazon, and Amazon is wonderful and also sometimes hard to use. It's very simple to use, but then it always doesn't do what you want. So I don't know if formatting is that much better or easier. But we shall find out. Hopefully, I know that they're doing some updates anyway. So mostly I think it's the look of everything that's changed. Yeah. Yes, I've got doggies over here. My neighbor has the cutest German shepherds and they are out to play. All right. All right, you guys, I think we got through. Again, if you have questions, drop them in at questions@freeadvicefriday.com. We will be back next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. I hope you join us. And thank you. Thank you for coming out today and spending your morning with me. And I hope to see you next week. Bye, everybody.